and help you get your life back and save you money. Don't put off getting help for another minute. Every day that goes by makes the IRS more aggressive and causes you further financial damage with bank levies and wage garnishments. The only risk here is not making the call today for a free consultation. Call Taxation Solutions today, 780-600-4351, and tell them Ask the Expert sent you. That's 780-600-4351, or log on to taxationsolutions.net. 780-600-4351. Lewert Law Offices is proud to be the family law expert on the Ask the Expert show. Attorney Tina Lewert is a board-certified specialist in marital and family law. Attorney Lewert is committed to obtaining the best resolution for your divorce or other family law case by consistently providing skilled representation, expert legal advice, and personal attention. Attorney Lewert has developed an excellent reputation for providing effective divorce and family law representation in Boca Raton and the surrounding communities. Lewert Law Offices offers legal advice and representation in a wide range of family law matters, including divorce, child custody, time sharing and visitation, child support, alimony, complex asset distribution, post-judgment modifications, and paternity actions. For expert representation in all aspects of divorce and family law, contact Attorney Tina Lewert today at 561-544-6861 or visit www.lewertlaw.com.
And we are back with more Ask the Experts, the award-winning.
But you forgot the name of the show.
I did. We have another show that we do in the mornings called the Steve-O and Renee Show, and I just said, tell me you heard it on the Steve-O and Renee, and people probably scratching their head. You know what? We were just sitting here talking. We have Tina Lewert with us. She's an attorney. She is a certified family attorney.
Board certified.
Board certified.
No, that's right. You can correct him. I do it all the time.
I never do anything wrong. You ever hear of that before?
No,
so,
never.
We're sitting here talking, and Tina had a client about a year ago who did not have an attorney, and she tried to handle it all herself. Please tell people why that's not a good idea.
the right thing to do.
Bad idea. You know, and it was interesting because this person came to me and I saw the judgment, the final judgment from what had happened. It was a custody case, and I read it and I'm going, oh no. And obviously something went wrong where either she screwed it up for herself or the judge for some reason just didn't like what he was hearing from her, and she it didn't go well. And I don't know what happened. Is there something, an attorney could have done? Did she not know what she was doing? Did she not know the right things to argue? Did she not know what case law to present the court?
Well, she's
of course
not an
not.
attorney.
Nobody goes in. Right. So then, you have people calling. I have people calling me saying, oh, I lost this, and then I tried to appeal, and I lost that. And it's like, well, okay, well, I can't fix it now. I could have helped you back then. But
I didn't know that people actually go and try to do it themselves.
Sometimes.
Well, I think people try to save the money, but in the long run, you end up losing.
Well, and the other party had an attorney, and so that's even worse. Yeah. So it's a little frightening.
Tell everybody about your law practice.
Sure. So I specialize in family law. So that encompasses divorce, child custody, child support, alimony. We do modifications of alimony, modifications of child custody, child support. We do restraining orders. We do we draft prenuptial agreements and postnuptial agreements and cohabitation agreements and things like that. And so sort of all aspects of what we would call family law, and that's what I specialize in.
In Florida, how many family attorneys are board certified?
There are a few more that just became board certified this year, but I think only something like 5 this year. So totally.
And then some drop off. Wait, some drop off.
Well, maybe they I don't know, they pass away or something. I don't know. something like 300 attorneys around that number. I have to look it up. I can look it up and find out the exact number. I have to do that for next time. But out of there are 102,000 attorneys in the state of Florida. So only 300.
So about 30%. About 70% are not board certified.
No, like 99%. 300 people.
Oh, that's it.
Well, no, okay, sorry. 300 people are board certified in marital and family law.
Yes.
I think it's something like 1% are board certified in any area.
It's a very low percentage.
So it's a very
So tell
low
people
percent.
what the difference is between being a certified attorney versus not.
Yeah, and it's important. And people don't know because there are all kinds of awards and designations and different things. And this isn't something that you like write a check and join a society and you're board certified. There are some of those, but this is a designation by the Florida Bar. And it's the only designation of being an expert. So the Florida Bar considers you, if you're board certified, to be an expert, to be a specialist. I believe only board certified attorneys can actually say that they are experts or specialists. Like even if you solely practice family law, if you're not board certified, you're not supposed to say I specialize.
Specialize, right?
Yeah, or I'm an expert in the area. So. With good reason. So board certified attorneys have a lot of trial experience. They have to show the board, so it's a committee, the board certification committee, but they have to prove the cases they've done, how many complex cases they've had.
So there's a lot of criteria,
there's a lot of experience, and
it's
qualifications. And then of course, you have to get judicial recommendations, peer recommendations. You have to take a really, really hard exam, and a lot of people don't pass it the first time or don't ever pass it. So it's a big deal, and when you get that, it's an honor. It's a huge honor. It's a celebration, and it's a big it's a big iconic moment in your practice. So that is a big deal, and it's an indication to the public that this person, like I said, is an expert. They know their stuff. They know family law. Or whatever it is. They could be board certified in criminal law. They could be board certified in civil trial work. So whatever the area of practice, board certified attorney is. I want people to
understand, just because you are board certified doesn't mean your prices are sky high.
I know, because as soon as people hear that, they say, "Oh, she must be expensive," but that's not the case.
Yeah, I mean, not necessarily. I will be honest. The Florida Bar does tell us we can charge more if you're board certified. And some of us are. There are some out there that are very expensive. There are some out there that are not board certified that are very, very expensive. So you just kind of have to do some research and figure out, well, what's the going rate, what's the middle of the road, and if you can find some board certified attorneys that are still within their qualifications and experience very reasonable.
Like yourself.
Like myself, of course.
What is there a such thing as legal separation?
No.
There's
not
no
in Florida. Not in Florida anyway. So, no, and I get that question a lot.
I ask you every time we do the show.
I get people calling me saying, what if I just do a legal separation? I say, no, can't do that. No, sorry.
Well,
so if you're not living,
that have that?
I'm not even sure. Maybe, and maybe that's where people get it from. But if you're not living together in the state of Florida, and you're married, the court considers you, or whatever, you're considered to be separated.
What happens if the husband leaves?
Mm-hmm. You change the locks.
But can he just come back in because he's making the mortgage payments?
No matter who's making the mortgage payments or if the mortgage is paid off, no matter if somebody moves out, they can come in, and actually you can't change the locks, Renee.
I know that.
So I know
that.
Yeah.
I was saying joking around.
Unless there's a court order saying that the person who's in the house has what they call exclusive use and possession of the house, or if there's a restraining order. So there are only certain circumstances under which you could change the locks. But people can be separated. I get questions a lot like, should I stay? Should I go? If I leave, am I is somebody going to argue I'm abandoning the house, or am I abandoning the children?
Let me just tell you something. That is in New York. That was the case. Mm-hmm. That's if you got divorced in New York. I mean, we're in Florida, obviously. Yeah. Well, you can't tell by my accent, but I'm just saying, in New York, if you leave the house, that's called abandonment. In Florida, that's not the case, because it doesn't matter if you live in the house or you leave. Right. And a lot of people think that's that's the case. It's not.
That. Absolutely, yeah. Right. So sometimes I talk to people and they're relieved when they find out, so we're arguing fighting like cats and dogs, and we're about to kill each other. So I can move out to kind of avoid that and keep the peace while this is pending. Okay, great.
Because people think that you're forced to live together, but that's not it.
And I'll tell people, listen, even if you, if first of all, it's terrible for the kids.
Yes.
No matter how old they are, how young they are, it's terrible for the kids. And I'll tell people, even if you have to go sleep on someone's couch for a while, or just to be away, because what else I've seen is people get so emotional, obviously, during this, and they're just so emotionally fueled. And if you've never, typically you've never, you know your spouse, but you don't know them in this situation, so you don't necessarily know how they're going to react, what they're capable of, what they might do. And I've seen people just turn and they will make up stories. He hit me, she scratched me, whatever, and they'll call the police and make up a story, and somebody gets arrested for domestic violence, domestic battery, and there's an arrest. And, it's so I have people going, yeah, this person's becoming really like erratic and belligerent, and I don't know, they're making threats or they're saying weird things. I'll say, move out, just go.
That's why it's a good thing. Can I tell you something?
That.
Yeah, that's why it's a good thing that they don't have that ruling here. That's abandonment, because you know what? Being somebody that went through a divorce, it's the worst thing possible to live with somebody. Once they get the papers that you want a divorce. I mean, typically it's one person that wants the divorce, and then there's a lot of anger.
Mm-hmm.
So you don't want to live with that.
Yeah.
No.
How do you determine, because we're talking about domestic violence, do they hire a family attorney or a criminal attorney?
So
that's a good question.
Yeah, that is a good question. So there are a couple things. So in my example that I used, someone punches someone else. The cops get called. The abuser, the puncher, whoever it was,
punchy,
puncher. So that person gets arrested. Now that's a criminal charge.
Okay.
So they get arrested for domestic battery, and that's a criminal case.
They wouldn't call you for that.
Well, they wouldn't call me for that necessarily, or they might. Some family law attorneys might, decide to take that. I personally don't. I would refer that to someone else, a criminal attorney. But in addition to that, if there's like a divorce going on or about to happen, and there are children involved, or whatever the case may be, I may say, okay, we have to file a restraining order against the person who hit the other person.
Would file the restraining.
Family law attorney would do that, and that's in the unified family court. So that's in it's a civil court. So it's a different thing. It's not a criminal action. It's a civil domestic violence injunction. So so there could be two cases pending at once: the criminal and then a civil case.
Yeah,
actually three, and then the divorce, because it's a separate case.
I've got so many questions today. So what if your son's living with you, or your daughter? It doesn't matter. And you're having problems, and you want to kick them out. Do you get an attorney for that to get the person removed? Because I heard it's very hard to do.
The spouse?
The son.
Oh, the son?
But that's not a divorce. That's a family issue, is it? That's more of
Is that a family issue, or
how old is the son?
What are we talking about? Is this a personal issue?
Child or
no, 18, 19. You're living with your parents, and they can't handle you anymore. They want to kick you out of the house, but they don't want to leave.
But that would be a family attorney.
Nothing.
Because we heard it's very hard.
It's an ejectment.
Yeah. I think that.
And that's not
that's
family
a different
law kind of thing.
No, not. I've never handled that. But yeah, I've heard those stories a million times.
I mean, there's people right now going, "Yeah, I'm having that problem."
It's a nightmare.
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
Well, give everybody your phone number.
Sure, it's 561-544-6861.
Okay, so let's get into child support.
Okay.
Because this is always the question of the day. How is child support determined?
Child support's a formula, and there's a statute. Florida Statute 6130 governs child support, 61.30. And so it's based on, the starting point is both parties' incomes. And we start with it's actually determined based on net income. So net income after your tax deductions and your own health insurance premium.
So
and
it is
your
net income.
Net income. And there's a formula based on in the statute. There's actually a chart, and based on how many children you have, and so they'll say, okay, your husband and wife's income together is X, and based on that number and this many children, 3 children, here's the number. Here's the number in the chart that the legislature has figured out. This is what it costs this couple to raise these kids, and then that number is actually apportioned between them. And then there's another deviation for how many overnights per year each party has with the kids.
Well, that's what I was going to ask you, because now you told me last time you were here, you were telling me about, it's now not that the mother has the kids, the father's picking them up every other weekend, that now the courts have been it's pretty much split custody. That they're going back and forth.
There are a lot of 50-50s. It's not the law yet. It's
Is it going to be?
They tried to make it the law. It didn't pass.
Because then how would you make that determination, if you're making for child support? So if the kid is split between the father and the mother, then how would you make that determination? Then the mother's really not entitled to that much money because the father has to
that's the thing. The more
shared
overnight,
custody.
the closer, I guess, the closer to equal to 50-50 the time sharing is, the less child support's going to be. So, but for example, if you have 50-50 time sharing, then, you plug in those numbers and actually it comes out, it's not equal. It has to, there's 180, somebody's getting 182 nights a year and somebody's getting 183 nights a year because it adds up to 365. And so you'd put that into the formula. But then if somebody's earning more than the other, the person earning more is probably going to pay the other person.
Does health insurance
it's probably a very small number. It could be a couple $100 a month. It depends on their incomes, but it could be very small.
Does health insurance go into that formula?
Yeah, the kids' health insurance and who's paying it goes into there. So if the father is paying the kids' health insurance, that number goes in the premiums for just the kids, and he actually gets a credit somewhere in the equation for her share.
Okay.
So her share of the health insurance for the wife.
Yeah, somewhere in there that her portion is worked into the equation. So yeah, if that may reduce, that may reduce. Well, yeah, if he's paying her, that would reduce what she's getting. But it may work out. Sometimes it works out to zero. But 50-50 time sharing doesn't always mean zero child support. A lot of people think that. It really has to do with some of the other financial, factors.
Wait, I know we have to go to the break because I have questions. I always have questions. Okay, so let's go to the break.
Okay, let's do it. We're here with attorney Tina Lewert, family law, board certified family law, and her office is in Boca Raton, but she handles Broward and Palm Beach, and we will be right back.
Lewert Law Offices is proud to be the family law expert on the Ask the Expert show. Attorney Tina Lewert is a board-certified specialist in marital and family law. Attorney Lewert is committed to obtaining the best resolution for your divorce or other family law case by consistently providing skilled representation, expert legal advice, and personal attention. Attorney Lewert has developed an excellent reputation for providing effective divorce and family law representation in Boca Raton and the surrounding communities. Lewert Law Offices offers legal advice and representation in a wide range of family law matters, including divorce, child custody, time sharing and visitation, child support, alimony, complex asset distribution, post-judgment modifications, and paternity actions. For expert representation in all aspects of divorce and family law, contact attorney Tina Lewert today at 561-544-6861 or visit www.lewertlaw.com.
And we're back. We're here with attorney Tina Lewert. She's been with us for a long time, and she's with us every month for Ask the Experts. And now I'm going to just turn it over to Miss. I got a question. Wait.
No, because we were talking about child support. Is alimony still? Can people still get alimony in the state of Florida?
Yeah.
Oh, they can.
Absolutely.
Somebody
there was
told
new
me
law. There was something new.
It didn't pass.
Yeah.
Okay, good.
Because the governor,
They
right?
weren't trying to take alimony away. They were trying to create a formula for it, and for the most part, do away with permanent alimony. But that it didn't pass.
So you think somebody could get
the governor
permanent?
vetoed it.
Yes.
Okay, so I have to ask, what is the determining factor whether or not you get alimony?
There are many determining factors.
Okay, so let's hear some of them.
Yeah. And
because I want to know why I got no alimony.
Sorry. Unlike
So I didn't use Tina.
Unlike child support, there's no formula. So child support is a right of the children. It's mandatory. There's a statutory guideline formula. Like I said, it's mandatory, and technically, child support can't even be waived because it's part of the statute. So, but alimony is very discretionary, and so the factors that are in the alimony statute are just that. They're factors. They're things to consider and weigh. And, each judge has to do that in an alimony case. So when somebody's asking for alimony, so there's no formula, but it's so for the first thing usually we look at is the length of the marriage. Currently, the law is if you're 17 years or more, you're in what's considered a long-term marriage. If you're less than 7 years, you're considered a short-term marriage, and if you're in between, you're a moderate-term marriage. So, what does that mean? Short-term marriage is generally you may get what we call bridge the gap alimony, a couple of years at the most to kind of bridge the gap from married life to single life, get you through. Moderate-term marriage, you usually be asking for what we call durational alimony, which is for a certain set period of time, and a long-term marriage, there's a presumption of permanent alimony, which is until either party dies or the recipient remarries. But as far as financially, it just depends. If the incomes are disparate, if the husband's making $500,000 a year and the wife's making $10,000 a year, she's going to get alimony. And because, the whole point is to provide for the recipient beyond, bare subsistence levels. Like they have to be able to live after this marriage.
Right. And I think that's
what if it's the other way around?
Well, it could be either way. But I'm just saying, especially if somebody...
I don't mean to be gender biased in an example.
But,
sorry.
I mean, could a male get...
Absolutely.
Male could get...
Yep, I've gotten that before at trial.
And the thing is, if once person, like I'm saying, wife, for instance, I'm just using wife, but I'm saying if she's been with in the marriage, taking care of the children, and her husband's been working all throughout the years, and she's just working part time, absolutely, I think that she doesn't. She should get alimony.
And that's one of the factors in the alimony statute is contributions toward the marriage, sacrifices that one party made to their own career for the sake of the marriage and staying home, raising the children, supporting the other spouse so they could go out and work and do their thing. And that's a very typical argument. So all those things. And then, of course, you look at age and physical health. I mean, if somebody's got a disability and they're never going to be able to go out and work, I mean, you might have somebody who's in a shorter term marriage, but they might be asking for permanent alimony because of a disability. So that's sort of a special circumstance. If you have somebody who's getting divorced at age 35 versus getting divorced at age, 65, that's a different level of employability, when they're going out into the job market and saying, okay, let me get a job, or let me, whatever they're doing, whether they're retraining or going back to school or rehabilitating themselves to start over. Right. Yeah. So those are all things that they take into consideration. There's a whole list of factors in the alimony statute. And it's weird because I hate to say this, but I say this all the time, and I've heard other attorneys say it. You could put the same alimony case in front of 5 different judges and potentially get 5 different outcomes because it's very discretionary.
So can you pick your judge?
No.
You can't?
You can't, no. They assign them randomly, and
because then you would know the best judges to go to for your clients.
Exactly. Right, yeah. Well, but the only, usually the only way to get a judge off the case is if either there's some conflict of interest, like the judge personally or somebody, something like that, or if the judge does something that's so crazy and outrageous and makes some totally biased comment or something, you can, but no, you can't pick your judge.
You know who deserves alimony? My dad. My dad would tell my mom, I do not want you to work. I want you to stay at home and be a mom. So all these years, they were married 30 years, she never worked. And then when they got a divorce, it was like, she's like 60-something years old, and he told me not to work. Someone like that, I think, deserves permanent alimony.
Yeah, I hear that a lot. And there's a little bit of a problem with that. It depends. It depends on, like I said, if you're getting divorced at age, something in your 60s versus something in your 30s or 40s, it's different level of employability. The girls getting divorced in their 30s, I hear that too. He told me he didn't want me to work. He wanted me to stay home. And it's like, okay, but that was your agreed upon arrangement during the marriage. Now it's a divorce.
Now get
Everything's
a job.
changing.
Now,
and the judge will tell them to get a job.
Right.
She's
you have
good.
to get a job.
Yes.
I wonder litigating for
I know.
me.
I'm bringing her out.
Do you enjoy litigating?
I do. It's I'm not. It's stressful and it's a lot, and but yeah, it's kind of fun.
Well, you deal, something. First of all, also in your practice, you deal with so many emotions, more so than I think any other area of law.
Absolutely. Yeah, I mean, and I don't think family law is for every attorney. There are a lot of attorneys that do other kinds of work that say to me, how do you do this? I can't,
It's exhausting.
It's you have to have a very thick skin, and you have to have a very unique sort of outlook on just in general relationships and the world and all that and life and yeah, as far as the emotional stuff, I mean, you can't let that bring you down or affect you in a certain way. I mean, you can be compassionate and empathetic with toward your clients, and I think family law attorneys are. I mean, there's a reason. Some of us, if we dug deep, there's a reason some of us are doing this. But
family attorneys who no longer practice family law, they went into something. They said, I could not take it.
It's tough. It's really tough, is tough. Yeah. And as much as you say you don't want to get emotionally attached, unfortunately, you start feeling for somebody,
Yeah, well, you want to get what you're, just like any litigator, you want what your client wants. You want that for them.
Right.
You want to get the outcome for them, and it is, and it's important to, it's usually you're dealing with issues that are the most important people or important
Children,
issues in people's
finances,
lives.
your house.
Their children, where they're going to live, how much
Right.
money they're going to have to live on. I mean, this is everything to
The
some
list
people.
is long.
So yeah,
When you're sitting down talking
yeah.
with some things that we would probably never even think of, and that's why it's so important to have an attorney that knows what they're doing.
A certified attorney, an expert, expert in
attorney.
family law. But let me just also, we're talking about the house. You just mentioned about the house because a lot of people ask that question as well. What happens? I mean, sometimes the wife wants to stay in the house with the kids because she does, the fact that they're splitting up is emotional enough for the kids, so she doesn't want to put that aspect in it. So she
Right.
wants to stay in the house. So what happens in that respect if the wife wants to stay in the house, but she can't afford it and she's not getting enough, child support or alimony? I mean,
It
is there
depends.
anything?
The court can award her. Excuse me. Sorry. The court can award her exclusive use of the home with the children as an element, as an aspect of child support. But
Meaning that the husband would have to pay like the mortgage?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, or pay enough for for that stuff
supplement
to be
it, yeah.
supported. Yeah, but it really depends because it depends on if that's financially feasible. I mean, I'm seeing a lot of cases, especially after the recession, where maybe the house is like the only asset that they have of the marriage, and there's nothing else to divide, and they need the money to move. And the court may say, listen, you better sell this house now and split the money. And everybody just has to deal with moving to someplace new. And yeah, of course, the goal is, yes, it's preferable not to have to disrupt the children, to uproot them, to
They're in
disturb
school,
their
you don't wanna
continuity, their
move
school
them,
district, all that stuff, of course. But sometimes it's unavoidable. So if that's financially feasible, yes, I see a lot fewer claims for that, though, after the recession than I did, because just things are different. People's finances are different, and
Because
they don't
every
have the
time I
same
see
assets
anybody
that they had.
anybody I know, they're all getting divorced and they have to sell the house. It's like
Yeah.
they're told they have to sell the house.
Yeah, it happens a lot.
God, this time
Goes
went
so
by so
quick.
fast.
I know.
Let's give everybody your phone number again and your website. You got a great website.
Thank you. The phone number is 561-544-6861, and the website is www.lewertlaw.com. LEWERT. Law.
Tell people where you locate also.
My office is in Boca, on the corner of Yamato and Dixie. They just changed the name on the front of the building, the Seaman Holtz building. I saw
It's a really
What?
nice building,
Yeah,
though.
yeah.
It was the Spectrum
It was
or something. What was it?
a
No.
bank. It was Seagate,
Yes.
something like that.
No, but it's really
that's
nice inside. The building's really pretty inside.
Yeah,
I like
it's a
that.
beautiful building.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're
And
happy
easy
there.
right off of 95,
Yep.
off of Federal, but you also handle cases in Broward, though, too.
Yeah, all the time, because we're right on that line, so I have a lot of cases in both counties.
And
You
you
know-
offer free consultations, right? Somebody can come into
It depends. Sometimes if people want me to review documents and come in for like a longer consultation, we'll charge for the time. That's
No,
typical
that-
with a
no,
lot
So
of
if you're going to
about
come
that.
in for
But-
longer than 30 seconds.
Right, you have. It's like a 5-minute consultation. If you have a few questions,
No, usually I will talk to people over the phone quite a bit, though. Yeah.
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 Like you did today.
That's right.
So, if you're in Broward, sometimes it's better to go a few extra miles to get someone you know is going to be good. And don't Google for an attorney. That's what we have the show here for. You don't, something this important, you don't Google for a family law attorney. It's Tina Lewert Law. Phone number one more time.
Phone number is 561-544-6861.
That's it for us today.
That's it.
We will be back next week from 5 to 6 with more Ask the Experts. Have a wonderful week. Peace and love.
We're out.
Thanks for tuning in today to the Ask the Expert Show with Steve-O and Renee. Tune in every Friday from 4 to 5 p.m. while some of the top local experts in their field from Broward and Palm Beach counties educate you in the areas of law, health, financial, and home improvement. You can also call our offices at 888-574-6999 to become an expert on our show. The opinions expressed on the preceding sponsored program were strictly those of its host